Good morning, Maulen.
Hey, Ali.
Good to see you. So we're in Moncton at Maulen's office, at Colliers' office
Yep.
in Moncton East.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thanks for taking the time. I know we always
My
chat, but we
pleasure.
thought we have a conversation and share it with our audience as well. So for those who don't know you, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Yep. Thanks, Ali, for coming over to visit me in Moncton. And since he's, visiting his project in St. John, and good to be here. Good to be
Thank
chatting.
you. Thanks.
Yeah, as Ali said, it's good to maybe record some of the, insightful conversations we always have,
Yeah,
typically have
exactly.
regarding the New Brunswick market, development business, and what's coming to us in the future, in the upcoming future, right? So.
Yeah, for sure.
My name is Maulen, and I am an apartment building developer based here in Moncton, New Brunswick. Uh, at the same time, I'm a commercial real estate broker, solely focused on multifamily buildings, helping clients sell and purchase apartment buildings here of all kinds. And yeah, what else?
Yeah.
I'm also on the board of New Brunswick Apartment Owners Association,
Yes. Yeah.
to which I really enjoy, making a difference and representing the voice of rental housing providers, to the government, and
Yeah.
staying on top of what's happening with property taxes,
Nice.
and all kinds of other aspects which affect
Yeah.
our business day
It's
to
good
day.
that you're immersed in this multifamily business from all sides, from development, from
Yes.
being on the
Yep.
association board, and don't let the young age fool you. He's he's very experienced. Tell us a little bit about the recent project that you've done in Moncton.
Yeah, for sure. So, from new construction, the last project that I did, it was a 59 unit building, financed with CMHC MLI Select here in Moncton, close to University of Moncton. So, it's quite a good central location, 5 stories, a wood building,
Nice.
um, has an elevator, and mostly it's about 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom type of
Nice.
suites. And
Nice.
yeah.
And you leased that up pretty quickly.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, like we were really worried and really wanted to put a lot of effort because we knew that the market is shifting, and there is more supply in comparison to the weakening immigration numbers. So we tried hard, and within 11 days after completion date, which was we completed on November 1st, 2025. November 11th, we were 100% leased.
Amazing. No, that
Yeah,
that's a quite an achievement. We'll come back to that one when we talk about the strategies. For
sure.
those who don't know me, my name is Ali Nazarian. My company is called EcoLux Developments. We focus on development management and investing in multifamily development. Uh, in Ontario and New Brunswick, we did some work in Alberta as well. And so the two parts to what we do is we find our own projects and work with investors to develop them. I also provide development management and consulting for other developers or owners that want to do developments. And we've known each other for a couple of years. We've talked a lot, and
Yeah,
we always have like very good, insightful conversations.
absolutely.
And so we thought that we share this with the audience. So speaking of New Brunswick market, so how do you see the market from your vantage point, being a developer, being a multifamily owner, and being a commercial real estate agent?
Um, it's a good question. Commercial real estate is affected by numerous factors, macro and microeconomic factors. So we as brokers, we have to follow all these factors and make sure that we're on top of them. Few things which affected is the population growth, which is being affected by the immigration policies, federal policies, and also the provincial policies like
Mm-hmm.
the Atlantic Immigration Program, which is a major driver of growth in our region. Um, and on top of that, vacancy rates, tax incentives by the government, which affect construction costs, also rent projections in the market. Are the rents going up or going down?
Mhm.
Also number of listings on the market, how many properties or houses are there for sale compared to the buyers. So all these things affect the market.
Mhm. And how do you see those factors playing into the market right now? Because I
Yeah.
know that as I drive around in Moncton, there's like
Mm-hmm.
so much construction going on.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is like, who's going to be renting all of this? As a developer, it makes me worried when I see there's so many buildings going up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what is your take? I know you had very good success with your building, and our other friends have had pretty good success here. It's been
Mm-hmm.
a definite boom in multifamily development in New
Mm-hmm.
Brunswick and especially in Moncton. But how do you see all these factors playing with recent changes in immigration, how it was before and how it is now?
Good question. So, um, I guess to give some context, there's a lot of apartments being built in Moncton. There, like you can see cranes everywhere. For the amount of buildings which are already exist, there are so many new buildings. Like it's obvious to everyone.
Mhm.
Even we're looking at a construction site of a multi-unit building
Yeah,
right now
yeah,
from our
exactly. Just
window.
outside the window. Yeah.
So, but at the same time, Moncton, for its size, it took the first place or in top three places for between any CMA's commercial, census metropolitan areas in Canada for
Hmm.
the fastest growing city in Canada for 3 years in a row. So this is Moncton is growing crazy fast in terms of population.
Hmm.
So the amount of supply on the market has been justified up till this day. But right now, that equation is shifting for sure. So the feds, cut immigration. So we're actively monitoring. I'm personally actively monitoring the population numbers for Greater Moncton to see and understand. Okay, when does the equation shift so much that you have to push some brakes,
Hmm.
right? And
But it doesn't seem like anybody is pushing the brakes any like for now. There's more and more.
like judging from my conversations with other developers, there's definitely a lot of people pushing brakes right now. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
there's definitely is. Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah. So do you
because
think like
yeah,
Moncton market is a little bit oversupplied maybe right now, or there's a lot of
uh,
competition?
there's definitely a lot of competition. It might be slightly oversupplied,
Yeah.
yes, but for the right operator, you have to be a very strong operator.
Hmm.
I believe you know, there's still opportunity to develop a multi-unit building, which is why I'm still planning to proceed with my next project
Next project.
on
That
Salisbury
that
Road.
yeah, I know that's exciting. How many units is your next project?
So my next project is a multi-phase development, which is a total of 303 units. But the first phase of it would be 128 units,
Nice, nice. That's
built in, built
exciting.
in, built in, not at the same time, but very close to each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I think there's cautious optimism in the market. It seems like people
Yes.
are still building in Moncton. So
Hmm.
in New Brunswick, I believe they got an exemption from federal government last year in June. There was a news that we've shared with some of our investors was that they got an exemption under the French speaking category
Hmm.
to allow them to exceed the limits that the federal government is putting on the immigration.
Right. That's
And
correct. Yes.
that seemed like it has helped to keep the market going here.
Yes.
Even in
Yes.
St. John, because tomorrow I'm going to the development symposium, so we'll have more insights. But it seems like there's still demand to fill the labor market in New Brunswick in general. And there's the
Hmm.
affordability seems like it's something that's attracting a lot of people here as well.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, like absolutely. So I was very happy to see the news that our premier Susan Holt was able to negotiate and fly to Ottawa and then negotiate a higher limit of higher number of permanent residents we can
Yeah,
accept through the provincial immigration program,
that's right.
which is allowing New Brunswick, which is a province in desperate need of workforce. It is allowing New Brunswick to still fill those roles and fill those
Roles, yeah,
jobs, and in turn helping us, to fill the buildings which we're
that's right.
developing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how do you see St. John's market? or St. John, I should say. St. John, New Brunswick, not St. John's, Newfoundland. For those who don't
Exactly.
know, there are two cities. There's a,
Two
there's a
different
small
cities.
difference. Yeah, I've taken a wrong flight before. While I think yeah.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Because
god.
many years ago, I booked a flight. I thought I'm booking it from St. John's, Newfoundland, because I
Okay.
lived there. But it
Okay.
turned out I was buying a ticket from St. John, New Brunswick, and I
Oh
didn't
wow.
notice it. So I showed up to the airport, and
Oh my
there
god.
was no flight.
Oh my
So then I
god.
realized it was from a different St. John. So this is we're talking about St. John, New Brunswick.
Yes, that's correct.
So how does that compare, like in terms of that? Don't there's they've been a little bit behind in development. They were not super development friendly, not like Moncton.
Hmm.
But how do you see that market from your vantage point, from a brokerage or from a broker's perspective?
Yeah. So I see St. John to be a good market with good potential for development, and why is due to the recent vacancy rate announcements by StatCan, and those numbers are came in at Moncton having a 4% vacancy rate, which is a bit on the higher end for what I'm used to, and Fredericton being at 3 point something in the mid threes range for vacancy rates, and St. John being at 2%,
Two
in the
percent.
2%
Oh,
range. So yeah,
yeah.
that's
So I
very
think three
definitely
percent, 3 to 3.5 is what we call like a neutral balanced market.
that's right. Yeah,
So 4% is a little bit on the, I guess, oversupply side, but 2% is definitely supply constrained,
that's
and that
correct. Yeah.
makes sense because St. John there's not as much development
Yes.
been happening. I think since last year with the housing accelerator fund that was announced, City of St. John got more incentives to relax their bylaws, and our project there that we're working on a 28 unit development,
Mm-hmm.
and we have been working on that for a few years, but there were lots of challenges, a lot of red tapes
Yes.
until last year where they relaxed the rules. They did
Right.
a blanket rezoning in the city, and we're
Mm-hmm.
finally able to get approvals for this 28 units that we're very excited to get it started. I'm actually here. We're just meeting with my with our architects, meeting
Mm-hmm.
with the builder later this afternoon.
Which we're using the same architect.
You're using the same architects, same builders
Same builder. Yep.
that you've had great experience with them. So
That's
we're not
correct. Yeah.
reinventing the wheel, and we're just trusting what
Yes.
our friends have done.
For
So
sure.
yeah, I think to your point that makes sense that there's a little bit of shortage of supply in St. John, so that makes us more optimistic as well
Mm-hmm.
about that market. But
Absolutely.
the New Brunswick economy in general, how do you see the economy in New Brunswick right now, or where it's headed?
Well, New Brunswick for the longest time, under the conservative government as well, was Premier Blaine Higgs used to be the only province in Canada with a balanced budget. It had a profit, or at least not a deficit, from
Okay.
what I recall. And now we are in the deficit territory, which is same as any other province in
Mm,
Canada, due to a lot of incentives for businesses, individuals, healthcare, trying to improve lives
mm,
and the quality of life here in New Brunswick. So overall, the economy, I'm optimistic about the economy for sure, because our current premier, she did hold some economic development positions in her career, so she's well versed into that skill set. So I believe that she'll do well, and she's trying to speed up some nation building projects, which
yeah.
our Prime Minister Mark Carney is pushing as well. So some mines, some natural resource activities really
Yeah.
increasing, and that's going to provide jobs and increase our GDP. So
No, that's amazing, and we can see it. Like when I arrive here, I can see activities happening. There's construction. There's
for sure,
the places are busy.
new
Flights
businesses
are
opening.
flights are fully booked. That's the interesting thing. There's like multiple flights in a day from both Air Canada and Porter that come to
Hmm.
Moncton and St. John, and they're always packed. So that's always a good sign when there's like lots of travel. That means there's lots of business travel, and you can see on the plane, right? There's nothing like being boots on the ground and seeing what's happening.
Hmm.
And one of the indicators that I always look at is like how many flights you're getting into the city.
Yes,
Are the flights fully booked? Who's
that's
on the
good
flights?
for
And you
sure.
can see I was coming here. yesterday, kind of midday, you can see a lot of business people on the plane. So that's
Right.
always a positive sign that there's lots of activity going on. And
Absolutely.
you drive around the city, you can see there's lots going on. So that's
Absolutely.
great. So we are also very optimistic on New Brunswick future.
Mm-hmm.
St. John being a port city,
Mm-hmm.
with tourism, the cruise ships, the refinery, and the
Increased port activity actually in
yeah,
St. John. Yeah.
productivity, and
Yeah.
the pulp and paper plant, the $1 billion, $1.1 billion pulp and paper plant upgrade, like Irving.
Right.
Those things are all positive
For sure.
activities. And I also heard in 5 years there's Canada Games happening in New Brunswick.
No, no, I haven't heard of it.
Somebody mentioned that last night at
Mm-hmm.
an investor meeting. That looks like St. John is going to be hosting a big portion of those games. So that's why the city
Nice.
is spending a lot of money on doing those developments.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's great. So it looks like things are doing pretty well here,
Yeah.
despite like a little bit of softer market.
Mm-hmm.
But we have projects in Ontario as well. But what I'm seeing here is the impact of this reduced immigration is a lot less in New Brunswick because of
Mm-hmm.
those exemptions that the
Right.
province got from the federal government.
Yeah, and I mean, I have a 5 unit development project close to downtown Toronto as well, and I was going to do a project in Calgary, Alberta as well. What I'm seeing is that anywhere in Canada, there's a softening of the rental
Yeah,
market
yeah,
due to increased supply and lower demand through lower immigration. So I believe that New Brunswick is definitely not the only market which is experiencing some sort of softening, but at the same time we have that exemption, as you mentioned,
yeah,
for
and to less
immigration. So
extent compared to other
I would say it's a
provinces.
lesser
Yeah,
extent.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
believe New Brunswick is the only province that received that exemption
that's true.
from the federal government, so it's less impacted by the cut in immigrations. But let's
Absolutely.
talk about like long-term view of all these apartments, right? With this softening, you're not changing course. Obviously, you're taking more cautions. And I was talking to some other developers that are kind of doing the same thing.
Hmm.
But why do we still do this? Some people will be asking, okay, then in the next year or two, there's softness, but uh, why do we invest in multifamily? Let's talk about that.
Good question. Well, it's definitely a very broad question, and like there's so many things we can discuss. But on the high level, multifamily has been always a resilient asset class, and as we've seen through the pandemic, hospitality properties took a big hit, office buildings took a hit, but everybody needed a home, and
Yeah,
multi units they provide a home and. The rental buildings, and there's a big demographic shift and a preference shift in the population throughout the whole world towards renting and not
yeah,
ownership. So probably building rental buildings is a great business for sure. And as you said, maybe there's a softening of the rental market for the next 1 to 2 to 3 years, but after 5 years. Um, I'm quite optimistic that the market is going to turn again, and these development projects they take a while to build. So
hmm,
by the time you finish your like for me, by the time I finish my second building, market might be a whole a
yeah.
different story, right? So
Yeah, and like the conservatism that we include in the projects make sure that we can make it through this
yes,
time.
exactly.
Another developer I was talking to, they were also saying a really good point is you can't build these buildings for the same cost in 10 years.
No,
So you rather build it now for when the market gets hot again,
right.
and those
Yes,
who own these buildings, they will basically benefit from that.
for sure.
And so it's always the long-term view of the market that we
Yes.
have on these properties. And multifamily, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. It's something that because it's generating cash flow, because you're paying down or your tenants are paying down your mortgage, and there's going to be eventually rents will always go up in the long run, and that increases the value of the property.
Yes.
It's the best wealth creation vehicle in the long run.
Yes.
What are your
Absolutely.
thoughts on that?
It's a great wealth creation mechanism for sure, because anything you can do to put your money into real assets or any kinds of assets, it's going to help you combat the ongoing inflation.
That's
So
right.
what happens is that, a very simple, reason why existing apartment buildings go up in values. The simple answer is inflation.
Inflation.
It
Yeah.
will never cost the same to build that building again. It's going to always cost more. So that in turn, causes the people who are building the new buildings increase their rents, because
Yeah.
otherwise they cannot afford to build that new building, and that actually increases the rents of the existing buildings. And with the NOI of the existing building going up, then the value of the building goes up. So
Exactly. Yeah.
there goes your creation of equity.
Yeah. No. 100%. It's definitely a long term investment, but it's a proven strategy.
Yeah.
There are many people, like as we can see in Moncton, you can see lots of people are building apartment buildings because I guess there was not as much in the past. But even you go to Ontario, Alberta, there's a lot of investment going into that, and uh, even a lot of like international funds.
Mm-hmm.
BlackRock bought Tricon in Toronto for $2.5 billion last year,
Mm.
and
Is it
one
Blackstone or BlackRock?
Blackstone, sorry, yeah,
Blackstone. Okay. Okay.
Blackstone
Makes sense.
bought Tricon, and that's like shows their basically mm, how much they trust, like how much they like this market and
Right.
multifamily. So
For
there's
sure.
there's an old saying that says follow smart money.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like those guys have like all kind of like research departments and analysts,
Yes.
and they don't make these decisions on a whim, right?
Yes,
So
I've
it's
actually
always
read
following
the
them.
I've read the book of the Blackstone founder,
Oh yeah,
Steven Schwarzman. A very very smart man, and if he's making that investment decision, I
yeah,
would as
for
well.
sure. And even in New Brunswick, we see like REITs putting money into New Brunswick, all parts of New Brunswick. So that's always a good sign. I think one advantage that New Brunswick has, it flies under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to like places like Toronto, Vancouver, like kind of national level, it doesn't come on the radar traditionally, but it's starting to be noticed by larger REITs. So
Right.
I think for people that are in this market right now or that have entered the market before,
Mm-hmm.
it's a definite advantage that now that it's coming on the radar of the larger REITs and whatnot.
For sure.
No, that's great. So you use CMHC, you mentioned. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the hot topic in the past few years. I think a lot of these buildings are all being built using the MLI Select program.
That's correct.
So talk about that a little bit and what's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, for sure. So CMUC MLI Select is the only biggest reason why everybody's building apartment buildings at this point. So, just to give an idea, to give our viewers an idea, is that before in the past you were supposed to spend around 25 to 35% of a down payment to build any brand new apartment building.
That's right.
Now with CMHC giving a certificate of insurance for a fee that you pay them, they provide that backing to the banks for them to have the confidence to lend to you at much lower down payment requirements and better interest rates. So at this moment, you're able to build an apartment building was 5 to 10% down payment, very attractive interest rates, which are currently in the high three range, around 3.5 to 3.7% a
Mm-hmm.
year, and yeah. So, but at the same time, CMHC doesn't want to be, the only market maker in Canada. So that's why they've been tightening their rules and restrictions every 6 months for the last, 3 4
Yeah, it
years,
seems to be
and
always changing. Yeah.
always changing, always getting stricter and tougher. Um, but yeah, like, and there's one more change coming in September where they're making it harder to qualify for the energy efficiency points.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's still present. The program is still here, so developers can still utilize it, and you'll still be able to make the
So
numbers
you're
work
still
out.
planning to use the energy efficiency for your next project?
For sure, yeah.
Now, how do you see the impact of these new rules? And maybe talk about. So for those who don't know, under the MLI Select, there are basically three criteria. There's energy efficiency, affordability, and accessibility for the units. Um, I guess most of us use a combination of affordability and energy efficiency, and sometimes just energy efficiency. And the changes that are coming are for the energy efficiency requirements. It's going to be based on 2020 code versus 2017 code. And it used to be the requirement was 40% above the code. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be, depending on the type of building, 60 to 70% above code.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you preparing for those changes?
Um, I'm just preparing. I'm just preparing cash for that because
Yeah,
it's going to
more,
require
yeah,
a bit more
more
capital for sure.
capital. Yeah,
Yeah, we have to go deeper into the energy efficiency measures. Solar panels and all kinds of things. Anything you can do to
yeah.
make the building more energy efficient, and that's going to require a higher investment, and is going to increase your construction costs,
Hmm.
potentially in turn increase your down payment requirement, and that's going to decrease the amount of developers who are able to make it work. So,
Right.
and that's also fair because at the same time, the government they want to push some brakes when they're seeing that there is an oversupply happening
Yeah,
in the market.
yeah.
So
And I've also heard that, like, for CMHC, the amount of risk they're taking as an insurance provider, because this
that's
MLI
correct.
Select is basically an insurance on the
Policy.
loan.
Hmm.
So they're kind of like balancing their risk as well. So they're trying to reduce their risk. On
100%.
our side, we're working with our energy advisors to find the most cost effective way
Hmm.
to meet the new
Hmm.
requirements come end of September. But we're also trying to push our projects through before the deadline. So
Yes,
our
for
current
sure.
project, we're planning to submit our CMHC application pretty soon.
Hmm.
So then we avoid the deadline. We have another project, a 10 unit in New Brunswick, in Ontario as well, that we're planning to get through
Hmm.
before the deadline. But even after the deadline, to your point, it might be a little bit higher capital requirement,
Hmm.
but we can still find a way to make it work.
Nice. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. It's
so
smart
that
to do it before the deadline.
Yeah, exactly. If we can get any projects through before the deadline,
Yes.
obviously it helps.
Yep.
Uh,
Everybody's doing that right
yeah,
now.
exactly, exactly. No, that's great. And yeah,
Nice project in 10 unit in Ontario, by the way. I
yeah.
haven't heard of that. Is that in GTA or which city is that?
It's in the Niagara region in a city called Welland.
Well, no, I know Welland. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
So it's a 10 unit, very similar concept to what we're doing here,
Mm-hmm.
stacked townhouses. And
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to find cost optimized designs.
Mm-hmm.
These stacked townhouses, they don't have common areas. So you're not paying for cleaning, you're
Mm-hmm.
not paying for heating the common areas.
Mm-hmm.
And even during the construction, you don't have to have all the fire alarm system and whatnot in the common areas. It
Mm-hmm.
makes it more simple and
Mm-hmm.
cost effective to build,
Mm-hmm.
and more cost effective to operate.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, like, lower expenses means higher NOI, means higher value for the building.
Mm-hmm.
So we really like this stacked townhome style. So
Mm.
it's a very similar design to what we're doing in St. John
Nice.
here in New Brunswick, in Ontario. So we're just getting approvals for that.
Awesome.
Just In Ontario, things take a little bit longer. That's
Yes.
one of the advantages that we have in New Brunswick. There's a lot of incentives here. And also, for those who are not familiar with New Brunswick, there is no, and I know this is going to come as a shock to people in Ontario, there's no development charges here.
Yes, that's right.
In Ontario, we have to pay $20,000 to $50,000 per unit just to get basically a permit to build, and that's not the building permit. That's just to get the development approved.
Mm-hmm.
But in New Brunswick, we don't have that. So that's one of the reasons we are in this market, because it's lower cost of entry, and we're not paying, arm and leg to the city. But you
Absolutely.
mentioned incentives as well here. So maybe mention some of the incentives that New Brunswick has for multifamily development.
Mm-hmm.
With property tax, with energy efficiency.
Yeah. So there's a couple incentives which New Brunswick has. The major one for me is that the rebate of the HST on new construction of apartment buildings.
That's across the country,
That's
but
across the
applies to
country
New Brunswick as
and
well.
applies to New Brunswick as well. The federal government removed the JC portion of it, and then the provinces had to follow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, New Brunswick was late in the game, and they've only recently removed the provincial portion of HST,
Right.
which is a great help. And that incentive is going to expire end of next year, which is part of the reason why some developers, not all, are trying to start some projects before the incentive
deadline.
expires.
Okay, that's a great point as well. Yeah, and it was one of the reasons our numbers didn't work before
Right.
this incentive, because
Yes.
in New Brunswick is 15%
HST.
HST, so it's even higher than Ontario. So it's a big help. But
Sure.
I believe there are some like property tax incentives in New Brunswick for new build apartment buildings. As
That's
well.
right. That's right. So when you build a new building, you can apply for it's called a new housing development incentive with the province of New Brunswick, where they give you a portion, basically a discount on your annual property taxes for the first or second years after you finish your building.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah,
So that's a big help. Like in the first years when you're
yes,
stabilizing the building,
right.
it's really helpful to have lower property tax.
That's great.
This is something that definitely Ontario could learn from New Brunswick.
Hmm.
There's energy efficiency incentives as well in New Brunswick, correct?
That's correct.
Through
NB Power.
NB Power, yeah.
NB Power provides incentives for you to go energy efficient as well, and maybe these kind of measures you're taking to get those CMHC points. Some of those measures can be repaid to you as a rebate.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's up to 50% and up to $250,000 maximum. I don't know what's the latest number, but that's what I heard. Even the energy efficiency upgrades we did on our sixplex in New Brunswick, we got 50% of that from NB Power. So that's a really helpful incentive. And the other one that they just introduced in St. John specifically is for rock excavation. There's a lot of rock in St. John. So they just announced new incentives under the Housing Accelerator Fund. So there's a lot of incentives here. Then people sometimes ask us like, why New Brunswick? I think this is one of some of the reasons. Like, is it a stronger market in terms of demand because of the immigration programs that exist here, and then there's no development charges. HST obviously removed across the country, and lots of incentives, from property tax incentive, from rock excavation incentive, from energy efficiency incentive. We don't have these energy efficiency incentives in Ontario.
That's correct.
And on top of that, we have to pay development charges and all that. So that this helps make the numbers work, make it a great investment in New Brunswick, and our investors love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, that was a good chat.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of useful topics.
But
For
yeah, a lot of ground, yeah,
yeah,
and especially when we're working with investors, these things become very important because we need to be able to basically uh, show them the reason, the strengths of the project and why we're doing this. So as we touched on a little bit on ours, on my side, we work with investors because creating wealth through multifamily, it sounds great, but it's not everybody's cup of tea to take on a project of like 60 units, 28 units, even 10 unit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So what we do is we work with investors who want to take advantage. They want to create wealth long term, but they don't have the time or the knowledge how to do it themselves. Sometimes they just don't want to have headaches. You have kids, you want to spend time with your family, or you have a career, doctors, lawyers, they're very busy. So what we offer is that they can participate in these projects if they qualify. This is only for accredited investors under the securities laws. If they're legally qualified to invest in these projects, they can participate. And basically, we find the projects, we underwrite them, we take the initial risk, and investors can passively invest in these projects, and then we split the profits with investors. Again, it's only for accredited investors if they qualify, but it's a great way to participate on the upside. Potential upside, I should say, without having to swing a hammer, deal with tenants, leasing, and all that work.
Absolutely,
So
without the headaches.
That's definitely an opportunity for those who qualify for it. Just quickly touching on mitigating risks in the market in terms of like leasing and whatnot. How do you deal with those risks, like especially now the market is a little bit softer?
Hmm.
Where do you focus to mitigate your risks?
Um, I
Is it
would
like
say,
faster leasing, like controlling your leasing process, or is it something else? Do you change anything in your design?
yeah, I think it's, there's a lot of things which play into it. Your location, your design of the building, how affordable your rents, how competitive are your rents, how good is your leasing team, and the advertising aspect of it, the marketing campaigns, and um, your unit layouts. Yesterday we
Mm.
were meeting with my interior designer. Her name is Elaine, and I had one set of like draft interior designs, but then she looked at it and she redid everything from scratch, and I was amazed at how much value a good suite layout or
Oh
a
yeah,
good interior designer
100%. Yeah.
can provide. So those are all the things which are gonna make you stand out from the competition and be able to decrease your leasing risk for
No,
sure.
amazing. That actually is a really good point. The layouts and the design of the building is very important. When I work with development, I guess as part of our development management clients,
Hmm.
that's the thing. Like it's not just designing a building and going and building it. The construction piece is probably the most straightforward part of the project.
Right. Yeah.
The most important part is your your
Pre-construction.
design and pre-construction activities, how you run your numbers, uh, optimizing your layouts to
Yes.
bring the highest dollar per square foot rent.
Hmm.
You can have the same square footage, but one building can bring slightly higher rent per square foot versus another building, and
Yeah.
that plays into the value and the numbers in the project. So optimizing your layout, even your unit mix and unit design makes a big difference. And
Hmm.
I always say that in multifamily development, the value is created on the paper. It's
Hmm.
not created on the construction site.
Absolutely.
It's the design, is the vision, and how well the underwriting was done. That's
Absolutely.
what guarantees the success of the project. And then the
Mm.
execution obviously has to be done right. But if the
Yes.
plan is not correct,
Yes.
perfect execution is not going to create success.
That's correct. Yeah. It's you have to do a lot of work, before everything starts. So
Yeah,
there's an old saying. It says, "Measure it 7 times and cut only once."
that's right.
So
Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, great conversations. Any final words, thoughts on the market, multifamily? Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
absolutely. Well, I really enjoyed the conversation, and
Thank
it's
you.
really helpful to kind of like one thing is to have these thoughts in your head, but also to communicate them to somebody
Brainstorm,
who's
yeah.
in the same business, and really understand why we're doing this. Remind ourselves that why are we in this market? Why are we in this business? It's wonderful to do that, and
Absolutely.
thanks for the conversation.
Yeah.
So I guess if people would not like to have the headaches of developing new buildings, they can reach out to Ali and with me, like
100%.
and I'm actually I have to give kudos to you because it's very
Thank you.
hard to partner with people.
Yeah.
I am not open to partnerships at this point, so not every developer, like not most developers don't do that, right? So
Yeah.
if somebody wants to be get into the development business, then they should reach out to some people like Ali, right, who are ready
Thank you.
to
Yeah.
and have the patience to explain the whole
Yeah.
process because
Yeah.
people kind of have a lot of questions. So
They do.
it's
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
that you have this vehicle for people to participate
Absolutely. Yeah.
in
It's
this
kind of
business.
democratizing it for everyone to get involved. And yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. Where
Yeah.
people can find you if they want to reach out to you, if they want to buy a building or sell their building in New Brunswick, they can reach
Absolutely.
out to you. Where do
Yes.
they find you?
Yeah. Like thank you for that intro. I wanted to just do a little bit of a promo for myself too.
By all means.
We're sitting in the Colliers office, so we have to thank Colliers to provide the space, and
Yeah.
at Colliers and myself being solely a focused broker on multifamily. If somebody's looking to dispose of an asset, lock in those gains they made from developing new buildings, or they want to purchase an asset. Recently, we actually had a 35 unit building for sale.
Nice.
It's all concrete, beautiful building in Riverview. And within 7 days, we were able to get five strong offers.
Nice.
And, getting back to your point that New Brunswick is getting, some interest from other provinces, is that because we had half of our purchasers being out of province,
Other promise.
Ontario
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Nova Scotia. So
Yeah.
yeah, like if you're looking to sell a building you built,
Or buy
please
a
reach out,
building.
you know, or buy a building.
Yeah.
We have qualified buyers, and we are able to also, you know, help you find good assets to purchase. You can reach out to me at my cell phone number and my email, which I'm gonna put maybe in
You're
the
on LinkedIn
description.
as well?
I'm also LinkedIn. You know, you can type Maulen, last name Kalau,
Okay.
and find me on
Maulen
LinkedIn.
Kalau.
Maulen Kalau, yep. And you can find me on LinkedIn for sure.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you want to find me, EcoLux Developments on Instagram, Ali Nazarian on LinkedIn and Facebook. And always happy to chat, talk about what we can help, how we can work together and collaborate. Thank you so much, Moen.
Absolutely.
Always pleasure chatting with
Thanks,
you.
Ali.
Thank you. Thanks.
Cheers.